Imagine you're a first class graduate, best graduating student in your class, best graduating student in your department, in your faculty, in the entire university. You studied accounting, you finished with a CGPA of 4.88 all over 5.0 for those in the US and those on a 4-point scale, so that's about 3.92 or something thereabout. And then you go ahead to take your first set of professional exams, and then you have a shocker. You failed 2 papers. Yeah, you failed 2 papers out of the 4 papers that you took. Yeah, that's my story, guys. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel if you're an old subscriber, and welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name is Betsy Oji-Ofoegbu. I'm a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICAN. I'm a member of ACCA UK, and I'm a member of CPA Ontario, CPA Canada if you like. Yes guys, so you're welcome to my channel. In today's video I want to just talk about something that I consider very important and very touchy, that can get quite emotional for some people. Again, it's about failure. Please hit like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Today I'll be walking you guys through what to do when you fail an exam. Yeah, this can apply to any exam, but particularly I'll be giving examples from, professional exams that relate to accounting, like ICAN, ACCA, CPA, and stuff like that. Back in May of 2015, I took my first set of professional exams straight out of university, feeling so fly, feeling so smart. I scored 33% in financial reporting, and 26% in performance management. Yes, what you call management accounting. So yeah, having gone from 33% to 80% on my second try, and from 26% to 66% on my next try, I guess I'm a perfect example of someone who can literally fail woefully and go ahead to be like the best in class in the next try. Yes guys, I felt shame, I felt reproach, I felt like everybody was going to look at me and even doubt my university degree. Like, how come you're so smart and you go ahead to fail an accounting exam? Like, yes guys, it can get really tempting to begin to doubt yourself, to feel like exactly what went wrong. Like, am I even good enough for this? Make excuses, right? Like, if you're probably a parent, you might say, oh, maybe it's because of my children. Or if you have a job, you might be like, yeah, those who are working have it harder than those who are studying full-time. There's just gonna be 1 million excuses that you can make for failure. Trust me, you either find an excuse or you find a reason to go ahead and do better the next time. I found a lot of excuses in my own time, but I sat down to have a rethink, and then the next time I went ahead to give my absolute best, and I came out victorious. So yeah, and that became the last ever time I failed any professional exam. Trust me guys, that was the last ever time I failed. I went ahead to start to score like 70% and above in such exams going forward. First tries only, and then of course I eventually took my ACCA exams, and now I'm a CPA. So that tells you that you can literally change your story. Your starting point may be so low, but yeah, you can just literally go like way ahead. Yes guys, I know, I've been there. I can understand your struggle, and I can understand how hard it is to go ahead to do the same thing all over again. That bulky study material, to go over it all over again. Like, to go back to those past questions that you now probably come to hate and be like, what nonsense, like I read this before. Yes, I know that feeling when you feel like the examiners are just like out to get you. Like, what exactly is it? I wrote everything, I answered everything right, then how did I still fail? Oh my gosh, what exactly can I do to, change my story? Or should I just forget about the exam altogether? Like, what the hell, who even needs an ACCA? Why am I even doing all of this? Yes, those are valid feelings. Those are valid ways that you can study, express your anger at exactly what has happened to you. However, you want to continue, right? You want to get it done. You already started, so why just stop halfway? Why quit? Yeah, so I think for me, I would just advise, like, if you're in that state, I think you want to try, you want to get it done, right? So you just have to ask yourself, okay, what then do I need to do to get it right the second time around? And I'm gonna give you the first tip. The first tip is to accept the failure. Yes guys, doesn't sound really nice when somebody says you should accept failure, but failure is what it is, right? It's not a reflection of you. Like, you just failed an exam, you just failed a paper, or failed 2 or failed 4 even, doesn't matter, but you basically just failed something. Doesn't mean your entire life is a failure, so just accept it, right? I mean, except you want to go contest it with the body to say, oh, something may have been wrong. But if you're taking it on, like, you truly failed that exam, then truly you have to come to terms with it. You have to accept that yes, you truly failed that paper, and then that's like the first ever step I would just recommend to you. Yes, I'm just gonna tell you guys this. So the first thing I did then was, it was really hard. I cried. I know I cried a lot, but once I was done crying, I accepted, yes, okay, fine, I failed this exam. That's the first thing you need to do. Second step would be to debrief, right? Yeah, so you want to debrief now. A debrief is basically a self-appraisal to look back inwardly and do a critical review of exactly what your first try was, or probably your last try was. You know, what exactly did I do wrong? What can I do better this time around? So yeah, so you take time to list out, or just, you know, mentally check off some of the things you know that were your pitfalls that could have led to your failure. I want you to write it down. I think I always believe in writing things down. So yeah, take a pen and a paper, write it down, exactly what are the things that you felt contributed to your failure the last time. Take your time and ask yourself that question. Personally for me, I know back then I took 4 papers at once. That was what I did wrong. I shouldn't have ever done that. Why do I want to do 4 papers at once? For God's sake. It meant I was never able to just give, you know, complete time and attention to all 4 of them. So for me, I debriefed and I knew that whenever I was going to write any professional exam again in the world, I would never go for more than 2 at once. So long as I'm able to choose, I would never be able to do more than 2, because why? I mean, why do you want to stress yourself and stretch your brain, you know, trying to fix everything into your brain at once? So that was for me. But for you, it might be something else. It might be that you arrived late to the venue and you were probably disjointed when you sat down. You didn't even know when it was, you know, time up and all of that. That may just be why you failed. It could be that you lost someone, right? And you just were not at your best at the exam. Anything. It could also just be that you didn't cover the syllabus, right? And maybe you didn't study enough past questions, or your examiner's remarks, or, you know, whatever it is. Honestly, there are a range of reasons why people fail exams. Some of them are within your power. Some of them are just an act of God. You know, something happened, you were late that day, and you just couldn't, you know, give your best at the exam, regardless of how good you had prepared, right? Yes, all of that could just be the reason why you failed. So don't beat yourself up. Just accept the failure. Secondly, do your debriefing and list out every single reason why you think you had failed that exam. Step number 3 would be to plan. Yes, so now you want to plan for the success, right? Everything you need to do right this time around. Go and reach out to people who actually passed that paper. A couple of people, it doesn't have to be a lot of people, right? In case you're like, you know, ashamed or something, but you can just reach out to 1 or 2 people who, you know, did really well at that paper and ask them exactly. They might just give you one tip. Oh, this was what I studied. This was study material I used. Oh, I studied this guy. I preferred his to the way this so guy explained. Or I prefer Kashif for audit. You guys know Kashif Kamran, right? I always refer to him in my ACCA videos. So for instance, somebody may have enjoyed the way he explained auditing as opposed to some other lecturer, right? Meanwhile, you use the other lecturer. So you might want to go and try Kashif, for instance, and say, okay, fine, let me go try Kashif. If everybody says he's good, then probably he's really good at what he does. Then you go ahead to watch Kashif's videos. I'm just giving an example, right? It can be anything. Somebody might just give you a tip of what they did and how they were able to structure their answers. That probably just helped them to really score like a 90 or an 80, right? You want to benchmark yourself with people who did really well in the last paper, so that way you are doing it right, at least by their own tips, right? Of course, you bring your own individuality and your personality to whatever you answer eventually, but just getting those tips from those who succeeded can help you forge ahead. Secondly, I think in your planning, you want to determine when you want to take the next try. While planning, it can be important for some people to take a step back and just like maybe let the next diet go, so that they can, like, you know, forget about everything about that paper and then come back fresh. Some other people need to do it immediately. Just depends on how your personal style is. Some people tend to forget and tend to drift away, so they know that if they do not continue to forge ahead, they just might never do it anymore. So you determine how you are. For someone like me, that time when I failed my ICAN exams, but when I was ready to move ahead, it was already too late, because the next set of exams were coming up in November, right? And I just couldn't take that November diet, so I had to skip that entire, you know, diet and take it the next May of 2016. But somebody else may have said, why not just go for the, you know, the next diet, right? It depends on you. I'm going to leave that totally up to you. You determine when you want to go for the next time, but ensure that you have a plan as to when you're going to achieve, you know, your next try, right? Yeah. Fourthly, I think the next thing you now need to do is to take action, right? So now you want to do what you've put on your plan. Like, you want to now go ahead to put that plan into action. If you need to attend lectures, you want to go attending the lectures. If you need to, you know, self-study, perhaps you know, attended lectures the last time and then you realize that it took more of your time, you know, actually attending the lectures than actually assimilating. I tell people who attend lectures, I've done both. And by the way, I'm not selling anyone. Either one is fine, self-studying or attending lectures. But I'll tell you from personal experience that attending lectures is so time-consuming and physically draining that it tends to give you the false impression that you're actually preparing for that exam by just physically going for a lecture. So you might have spent 1 hour on the train to where, you know, the class is, and you just feel like, oh, today I went to study financial reporting. But did you really study financial reporting if you just spent time going to study financial reporting and sitting down and watching somebody talk about financial reporting? But how much of it actually went into your brain? If you had spent that same 3 hours sitting down, you know, studying financial reporting from a study pack, you know, you have to do the evaluation, which one pays you off better. So I'll tell you this, I know some people like to get someone explaining things to them. That's totally up to you. I would not prescribe anyone. I did both. I know that either one has helped me at different times, but I know for specific papers I really like to study them myself. For some other ones I might want to go for someone to explain to me and get ready to do the work again. That's the only challenge I know failure does. I remember when I had to receive that paper, everything was doing me like a deja vu, like, oh my gosh, I've read this before. I will keep remembering, I studied this thing, this was what I wrote in the exam. I couldn't help it, because again, I was doing the exam for the second time, so I couldn't escape having those deja vu moments. But I just looked at it like, well, what's done is done. I have to take this paper again, and I gave it 100. I attended classes, I did intensive classes, I had all the past questions I needed to have, I read all the examiner's comments this time around. I did everything right because I knew that I took full ownership of the failure before, and I was ready to do everything differently, right? So yeah, so that's what I'll just tell you guys. Get in there ready to do the work again, but this time around smarter and better than you did it the first time. Then the fifth thing you need to do, guys, you know, is that you need to be positive about your second try. I know that it can get really painful when you now go in the second time and then you just come back and you start feeling like, am I gonna do well at this? You know, the self-doubt starts to creep in, and then you just feel like, oh my gosh, like, oh, I think this was even worse than my previous diet. I know I'm gonna fail even more woefully this time. No, don't let that be your reality. Don't make that occupy your mind. Honestly, so long as you've done it differently the second time around and better, then once you leave that exam hall, be positive. Like, it's very important for you to keep a positive approach, to keep a positive mindset, right? Yes, guys, I think that's what you need to do. Depending on the paper, you might have to have someone critique your answer. Yes, a critic is someone who takes your paper, reads what you have written as your answer, and tells you what you have done wrong. Yes, I think I'll recommend this highly if you are probably taking a case study kind of paper, or like an audit and assurance paper where you really have to, like, you know, impress the examiner. Yeah, sometimes we think that what our points that we make, we think that they are so important and so intelligent, and you know, you just think, that's a brilliant point, but maybe not so much in the eyes of the examiner. So you might want to, you know, actually attempt a past question and give to someone whom you know did well at that paper, or maybe someone who tutors that paper for a living or something. Have them critique your answer. So that's like a mock, right? You want to try and see, okay, so if I produce this as my actual answer, am I gonna fly this time around, or is it not gonna fly, right? You want to find out exactly what you're doing wrong, and the best way to find that out is to take a mock. Yes, I always recommend a mock. Either you're doing a mock by yourself, setting your time and, you know, putting yourself in exam condition and trying to produce those points in as quickly as you'll be required to on the final, you know, the D-Day, right? Yeah. Yes, half the time people don't pass because they are just, you know, they're giving half answers. They're not getting the full mark. You're not explaining it as much as you need to. So find that one person who can spare that time, either voluntarily or even for financial reward, you know, right? Just looking through your papers. You don't want to, I mean, it's costly to write professional exams, so you want to get it right, like, as quickly as you can, so that you don't spend so much money and time and resources, you know, doing the same thing over and over again. Yes, go into that exam hall hoping to pass it and pass it well. So you want to give 100. You want to give sufficient points in the exam hall. You want to allocate your time appropriately. All of this I've already explained in my previous videos, how to pass ACCA. Those videos are short and sweet, and I already explained all the tidbits relating to the different papers. But on a high level, I'll tell you, any professional exam has major things you need to know. A syllabus. They have a syllabus. They will tell you exactly what they will be testing, so you don't just go reading any random thing that relates to that profession, right? Yes, there's always a structure relating to a syllabus. Secondly, they would also have past questions available. I don't think there's any professional exam that will just send you in there blind. Half the time there are past questions available. Professional exams always almost have examiners' comments. Yes, regardless of what exam it is. Even when I wrote WAEC, my mom would always tell me that WAEC has examiners' comments, which typically tells you what the pitfalls of the students were. So yeah, so now imagine like ICAN, ACCA, CPA. Of course they have examiners' comments. They're going to tell you exactly what you did wrong. Sometimes they call them markers, remarks, or whatever. But that's always very important, because you want to know what you did wrong. That's the easiest way to just get it right the second time, right? So yeah, don't ignore those things. Don't just study for exams, like, you know, in a rush, so that you forget to look at these things. They are very important to you. You want to look at the marking scheme to see how they marked the last one. I mean, that's like the easiest way to not fail anything, right? You want to look at how exactly, you know, they are awarding marks and all of that, so that you don't spend time on questions that don't even have as much marks, and then you ignore the ones which are actually maybe compulsory, or they are the ones who have the more weight in terms of, you know, the average at the end of the day. So guys, like, just these things, you cannot ignore them, guys. I know it's one thing to just go study, show up to the exam hall, but you're likely gonna fail because you're just showing up blank. Why do you want to do that when there are resources available to you? Exhaust your time on the ACCA website. For instance, if it's ACCA you're taking, go there, read all these things, the articles that relate to the paper, whatever it is. Those things have little marks here and then that you can grab in the exam hall and just get your 50 marks and go, right? For instance, if 50% is the pass mark. So yeah, don't ignore those small points. They all add up at the end of the day, guys. I tell you for free, they all add up. It's possible, guys. You can change your story. Your approach is what you really need to change. Your approach and your attitude towards the exam. Once you change these two things, I mean, the sky is just your starting point. I'll tell you guys for free. And please come back to let me know when you pass those exams. I'll be waiting to read all your success stories. They don't bore me, trust me. It doesn't matter how many times somebody says, Betsy, I finally passed. Oh yeah, I want to hear it. Yes, guys, and thank you guys for watching. Like this video, drop me a comment. Let me know if it helped you in any way. Send it to anyone whom you think might find it useful. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.